I had a funny moment here in Chicago where I went out with a buddy that was in town, back where you can have people visit you. And you remember what that was like when you can have visitors?
Not really, it's a blur. It's a blur.
We went and got some pizza, and a woman recognized me there. And she said, "Oh my God, you're that guy from the show." And I go, "Yeah, hi, what's your name?" Blah, blah, yeah. And she goes, "Oh my God, you're my favorite. I idolize you." And my buddy goes, "Why would you do that? You don't even know him." And it's just like this guy from the small town where I grew up is like giving her real, like, what? Why? Yeah. You don't even know him. I know him. Believe me, you don't want to idolize. It's just this funny moment.
Hey, what's up, man?
Nothing much.
I wasn't going with the blank wall, but then bam, I have a blank wall. It's the only wall I can find in my house.
Looks great. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I've got one kid napping upstairs, trying to. She's just going quack, quack, quack right now. I can faintly hear it through the monitor. And I got the other two outside trying to carve pumpkins. So I'm good.
You got a full house.
Yeah, full house. Full house for sure. How you doing?
So far, so negative, which is positive.
I was watching your show and I was like, oh, like you guys are wearing masks in a lot of your scenes anyway.
Yeah, medical show has like a unique advantage.
Like, oh, you're doing a medical show. You got the mask, Is it interesting how to kind of like toe the line of having the masks, showing that we're in the world of COVID, but then also, you can't be wearing the masks all the time because that's not very interesting television. So
yeah,
it's a hard needle to thread. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's, the writers developed this logic where everybody that's come into the emergency department has been tested. And so it's COVID free. Everyone's negative, all the staff and everybody is. And then we do have a COVID ward in another part of the hospital where it's hazmat suit like looking and pods and all this stuff. Yeah. So we do have that balance, which is great. And then, so yeah, I mean, I'm more involved in the emergency department, so I don't wear a mask as much as others may have to in the show, but it's funny because objects are props. Like the mask has sort of become like the pocket square, and it's just needs to be omnipresent because it's part of your everything.
You start a scene and you're like, anyway, I'm like really into the hand sanitizer, which sometimes I'm like, take 30. You're like,
my epidermis is gone.
Like, dude, your hands are gonna be like just bone showing through skin at the end of this scene.
Yeah, no, it's great though, man, and I also think it really something I'm really proud about our show actually that sets us apart from other medical shows is that Oliver Platt plays the psychiatrist, and we've never had a medical drama where there's been a psychiatrist within the ED, and it just we get to discuss mental health, which is so important right now, more than ever, and it's just
a lot of interesting stories you guys can do.
Completely, yeah.
The result of lockdowns and everything.
Yeah.
Do me a favor. I did a play with Oliver Platt.
Yeah.
I want you to say hi to him from me. We did a great show, and I have some wild stories I'll tell you another time.
I look forward to those. What show did you do?
It's called Shining City.
Okay.
Me, Oliver Platt, and I was 25 when I did it, I think.
Wow. So, I'll let him know.
Yeah. So say hi to him. I'm like, God, when like a crossover, when's that gonna happen?
I know. When I first was brought on, before Chicago Med became a thing, I did a crossover with Mariska. She came on to PD.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I understand probably why we can't always do New York and Chicago crossovers, but
they all exist in the same world. And I was noticing that like Esapeta, she is like the one person. I was saying this to my wife the other night, that she is like, she's played two characters in the same world, but different characters. So there's some episode where like her Law and Order character sees her the Med character, and it's like some bizarro, like, who are you?
That would be amazing.
Because I think that's the only time it's happened where a series regular in one becomes a series regular in another as a completely different character.
Yeah, no. I think she was the longest running character on Law and Order.
Yeah,
Is what she said before, and yeah, man, it's well,
she's awesome. Anyway,
she is. Oh yeah, absolutely. Her and Oliver are sort of our our fearless leaders, and they've been great to work with, and
that's great.
Really
great.
phenomenal.
It feels like a family, right? I mean, it does.
It totally is. Yeah. Actually, what Dick has done here in Chicago for us here, it's the first time I've ever laid roots as an actor. So thankfully, I've just been working on the show for a while, and that's its own thing. But what's come with these 3 shows is he's really plopped a community for us here.
Yeah.
To get to know one another, along with providing us, fantastic.
Right, I never even thought about that because you have all 3. Are you guys are your stages close to each other? Do you share a thing, or do you all have separate stages?
No, we're it was an old steel mill, so there's sections, but yeah, we're all on the same lot. So
you're all on the same lot. Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But surprisingly, we don't cross paths. We've got sections of the lot that we're on.
Yeah.
We don't really see one another throughout the day, but we all film here. So when we're all off, if we have the time, we try and get together. And
that's really cool.
It's the first time that's ever happened for me, and especially if you're going somewhere where you don't know anybody, to kind of have this theater troupe or like acting troupe.
Yeah. You guys are the wolf pack, huh?
The wolf pack. That's it, man. We all are, aren't we?
I mean, yeah.
It's man. Chicago was never on my radar, and it actually has been just a wonderful place to live.
It gets cold there though. That's what whenever actors we go do it, they're like, man, it's cold in Chicago. We get directors like, oh, it's cold. It's cold.
Yeah, lake effect. But I was born in Cleveland, so it's in my blood.
Yeah, you can handle it.
Well, I did go to LA before I came to Chicago, so I probably lost all my lake effect.
you lost your Cleveland cred, man.
I squashed it in LA. Yeah. No, but
how long have you guys been in production for now?
Since September 22nd.
September 22nd. Okay.
A couple weeks now.
Yeah. So I think we started at the beginning of September. So it's kind of, it's strange how the testing has kind of become second nature now, You show up and then, you go to your dressing room, and it's kind of crazy though.
Yeah. At first I was hanging on every result. I'm like, oh my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? And now you're right. It does feel like it's becoming just part of our schedule.
Yeah.
And of course, if you know the way you're entertaining your life outside of work, you don't really have much to worry about. It's just, what we do as a career is abnormal, and this just makes it all more abnormal. I will say that I was completely safe returning to work. Everything that I was told beforehand, and when I showed up, I was like, okay, I do feel comfortable as far as all that goes. And I knew we need to learn a bunch of new things and figure things out as we went. But
I think it's also, in the time we all had off, the kind of just the things you do now, that has kind of become second nature, just in the way that you're operating in the world now. And it was so strange to get back to work though after 7 months, and you've been in this other world. So all of a sudden you're back in this old world that's kind of like the old world, but it's not. It's
no,
different. And I felt for me at least, it took a good couple of weeks before I kind of felt like, okay, I'm fully in this world, before I was like hitting my stride. It was even kind of hard to like get back into just the groove and the flow of everything. Maybe because everything it ended so abruptly. I don't know how much heads up you had, but I know, like, I went to work on a Thursday, you know what I mean? And then by Monday, it was like the season's done. It was like, whoa.
No, same for us. We didn't get a lot of heads up. We knew that there was someone tested positive within the stages in which we all work that wasn't on our show. It was on a separate show. Uh-huh. And so we knew that maybe like 5 days out, but we had no idea and then on the Friday before that weekend, that was it.
Yeah.
And it was so anticlimactic. You didn't even get to say thank you and goodbye to everybody.
Yeah.
We kind of found out like at the very end. I wasn't on the last day, so I guess there was some people that were able to have a finalize a season, but it was cold turkey.
Yeah.
And then we start back out.
And then you kind of, I just remember like the first week, you're kind of getting the gravity. It's like, oh, this isn't shut down for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
This is, and then everything starts closing. It was just.
That's right. We didn't know if it was going to be for a couple weeks or the whole, you're right.
Well, when they shut us down, I thought it was going to be for, 3 weeks, and we were taking a pause and we were going to finish our season because we still had 4 or 5 episodes to do.
And we had 3 left to go.
Yeah, we just started a new one, so I'm like, okay, as most people, who could have foreseen what was actually going to happen? But yeah, and then I remember having the call on that Tuesday. It was like, I remember it was kind of getting clear to me that it was shut. I was like, hold on, we're not coming back. And they're like, no, we're not. I remember turning to my wife and going, you're never going to believe the conversation.
Yes, a similar situation with my wife. It's like, what? I'm like, yeah. So I think I got to find something to do here with my time now.
Yeah. How did you occupy your time? What did you do?
I luckily had a situation back where I'm from in the state of Ohio, near my family, where a family member of mine has this house that they haven't used for 15 years. And I only knew that the gravity of that is when I spent the night there. The first night they said, congratulations, you're the first person to ever spend the night here. And I go, really? And I was so. Anyways, they allowed me to.
It's like because it's haunted.
yeah, that's it.
But what?
No, it was like the perfect. It was a game changer. It was also, I didn't have any worry about quarantining there because no one was there. It was perfect for us because I got to socially distance with the family. Normally during that time off is when I do, catch up with a lot of my family I haven't seen. Because we sacrifice being able to be around our family a lot.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah,
I wish we could use the help.
Yeah, I bet. But how do you balance just as an actor in general? Because when I was younger, I was always like, well, I know I want to get married someday and have a family, but this job seems like it's, and it was a very young, naive way of thinking about it. But now, did you know you always wanted to have a family, or?
Yeah, I did. I think I always knew it's one thing knowing it's something that you want to do and then being like, all right, let's do it. It's kind of the hard thing to be like, I'm ready for that. And I know it's kind of cliche, but it is like the thing you're never ready for. When we had our first one, it was kind of, I don't know, it clarified a lot of things for me just as like what I was as a person, what I was as an actor. And I feel like it made me a much better actor because acting is so personal and you are drawing from your own experiences. And, you have to be pretty mature to not take rejection personally in this business because it feels like it is you. It feels like they're rejecting you. They don't like the way you look. And that's not the case. You realize that there's a lot of arbitrary reasons that people get parts and people don't. And especially now that I'm like kind of on a show and I can see, you realize like a lot of times it is completely out of the actor's control. And it's not about like, oh, this person was better or this, sometimes it's a combination of a lot of things. But when I was younger, it was very hard for me to take that in. And I took it all very personally. And then it was also kind of like, where do I start as a person and end as an actor? That line got very blurry. And even in terms of, what has meaning in your life, because you're always trying to implant meaning onto your work. But then in that way, sometimes I felt like, am I really feeling this in real life? Or I remember being in a fight with an ex-girlfriend and we're like yelling at each other and I like slam my fist on the table and like in my mind, I was having this dialogue with myself. I was like, was that an acting move that you just did?
That was a great gesture.
In reality, you know what I mean? So
I can't imagine what it's like to be to date an actor because
I would be so suspicious. I'd be like, you acting right now?
Did you go to school for acting or?
Well, I went to college for 1 year at Boston University, but not for acting.
Oh, okay.
And then I kind of I was listening to a lot of Bob Dylan, and I was reading a book about the group theater. in New York. And I kind of had this, like, I got to go to New York, man. And like tried to replicate, I was really into Marlon Brando and he had come to New York. So I was trying to replicate this thing that people kind of did in the 40s, 50s, 60s with myself. So I dropped out of school and I moved to New York when I was 19. And, you know, I did the thing, used wait tables and was taking classes. And then I did a 2-year kind of conservatory program that wasn't attached to a degree, but in the Meisner technique. And, you know, that was it. So I didn't go to, you know, any school.
So I've lived in New York for 1.5 years.
Okay.
But before that, I have 2 degrees in pretending. I went to undergraduate and graduate school because I felt I needed it. I felt I needed both.
Yeah. Do you still feel like you needed both?
Yes. Actually, yes, because college helped me respect the craft.
Mm-hmm.
Graduate schooling helped provide the work ethic that I would not have had, because it's the most it's the crazy schedule I have as far as an actor. You start at 7:30, 8 a.m. with warm up, and then at 11 p.m. you're done rehearsing the play, and throughout you had classes all day, and it's just the most rigorous schedule you'll ever have.
Right.
And so, yeah, it was just all acting. Well, whereas undergraduate schooling was a lot of different things with the focus on acting, and of course, I was able to appreciate all the elements that go into making theater. So all of this was theater training. I didn't have any on-camera work. There was one on-camera class for like a 6-week thing in graduate schooling.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, oh my, what is this intimacy that you can have? That you don't need to. It's great. First off, the training in theater, I would never trade it for the world. I think it's the best you can have, especially studying a lot of classics and whatnot. But it's just something happened when I had that camera class where I'm like, I really want to seek more of this out. And so we only had a showcase in New York City. Mm-hmm. And thankfully for that, I was able to obtain a manager and an agent. Because without that, I think back, I'm like, I just don't know. I mean, you do whatever you have to do. And living in New York, it's like boot camp for living. You do.
I mean, there's the good thing is, though, there's always a lot going on, and everyone's trying to start theater companies, and you band together with your friends.
That's true. Yeah.
Like I remember we tried to start a theater company. We could never get it together to mount a production, but like we would rehearse plays in like the back of this church where I talked to the priest in Greenwich Village and was like, we're a theater company, man. Can we borrow some of your space? And I can't believe he was like, yeah, sure. You can have this room after the NA class is done. The NA meeting's done. You can come in. And we would do that. But it was like, those are really good things to kind of go through that, to really be doing work for free and work that's, in these little 15-person theaters and incredible student films, and do that. Like, God, you really, really respect when you do get something, you know what I mean? You realize how special that is. And I think for me, that's been really good to get that, to appreciate like how rare it is to actually get to do this,
it builds appreciation too, is what the respect for it, and you sort of appreciate all the levels of earning your stripes, right?
Yeah. And I think it's also, when you're kind of, I wouldn't say like so like you were saying, like getting a lot of guest star stuff, but that's still like going from job to job. Job. And that's cool because you get to do a lot of different things, but you don't have any security, and you do have to really, it's kind of a nice melding of your artistic sense, which when I was younger was like, that was everything, was that. But then as I got older, you kind of realize there's a craft to this as well. So you kind of start viewing yourself as a craftsman, like kind of like a plumber, it's this hybrid. It's like, and if you can view yourself like a craftsman, then, you never show up unprepared. You never don't know your lines, because that would be, you know, a violinist doesn't show up without strings in their violin. A doctor doesn't show up without, you know, the scalpel or whatever. I mean, I know they get provided the scalpel, but it's the same thing. I think it's funny when, you know, people or actors think they can show up and say, I'm not prepared. It's like, well, you think you're so special. It's disrespectful.
Totally, man. Yeah, because you never see the crew showing up unprepared.
Yeah.
Why would you do? Yeah, why would you walk in and waste everybody's time when they're so carefully setting up to be ready for you, and then you come up and I can't
stand when actors don't take their job as seriously as everybody else does. Well, and I have that problem on our show. You know.
No, yeah, we don't have that either, thankfully. It's a great group, and we've joked around that Dick screens people and does background checks, and just make sure.
No stinkers. I met a bunch of the people from Chicago PD, and I mean, I don't know if you remember, we hung out. It was like the upfronts.
Yeah, with that big photo.
Yeah, and I remember thinking, I was like, this guy's about to have like his own show. That would make me so nervous. Like, you know,
it made you nervous?
Huh?
It made you nervous?
Well, yeah, just like imagining, like, you know, this is like your thing. Like, you are the springboard off of you. So,
well, it was. Hey, man, it was. I knew I was being given an opportunity, and they were taking an artistic chance on me because I hadn't proven myself on any show before. I wasn't a series regular on anything, right?
Yeah.
I was building furniture in Los Angeles and delivering it at like a flea market. And I love that. And I had the best boss ever in my entire side job career. But I'll never forget that day when they called. And, you know, it's just funny though, but this is just the way with the Wolf Entertainment. And
how did that work for you? Because you were, you know, the brother of the house set on PD, right? That's how your character was introduced. So how did it segue from that to this guy's all right, let's give him a show? So give me the behind the scenes details.
Yeah. Okay. So I had originally my first I had an audition for Chicago PD when they were trying to get a new character on that show, and I went in for the producers, saw Peter Scanavino, I think Arthur Forney and all them, and they said, "Hey, great work, but ultimately you look a little too much like someone on our show, and we're going to go elsewhere." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool."
That's kind of what I was talking about though too. Like, there's things that you can't control. You may look too much like somebody.
You're absolutely right.
It's not you.
I knew I did everything I could. I didn't walk out of that. As long as you as an actor walk out of the audition and say, I wouldn't have changed a thing, I couldn't have.
Right.
Then that's what you need to strive for every time. Because I don't even think we should use the word rejection. It shouldn't be a part of it because you have no idea, and that's such a negative connotation, and that'll work on you in such a negative way. So
absolutely.
I think it should be removed because it's just this stereotypical word that people think about if they just generalize the career, right?
Yeah.
But because it could be as simple as, well, Tom Cruise is a certain height and you're a little too tall.
Yeah.
Who knows? And so in this case, you're exactly right. That's what it was. Then I got a call. I see the number and I'm like, oh, this area code seems like a good call. I better pick this up. It's my agent. Hey, Nick, they're thinking about doing this medical show, and you're going to play a brother. You would play a brother. Now, it's not guaranteed or anything for a series yet, but there's 4 episodes, and one's an embedded pilot on Chicago Fire. And Chicago Fire and Chicago PD, these 2 shows already. I go, oh, okay. And it was their second attempt I had heard, and I go, okay. It was right in the middle of pilot season, and I'm like, man, I was just gearing up to do a bunch of auditions.
Yeah.
And so I said, let's do it. And I started on Chicago PD, came in as Dr. Brother, and Jonathan Strauss went to bat for me. I have thanked this man so many times, and I will be forever in his debt. He went to bat for me and said, hey, you remember Nick from the Chicago PD? He looks like this guy, and they didn't audition me, and that was it. And I accepted it, and I was like, oh my God, this feels amazing.
Yeah.
And it's just this beautiful transition out of a series that is already established into its own. And That's the beauty. These aren't spin-off shows. They sort of spin into themselves. And then it was this really exciting thing to be a part of. You know, I imagine a lot of what you guys went through when you broke TV history, but we were starting something that had never really been done on primetime television as far as this one universe and these shows crossing over and all these characters being a part of it. I'm like, wow, this is exciting. And now here we are. Congratulations, by the way. We both have 3 extra seasons here. This is fantastic, man.
You too.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah. So if they give you, they offer you this thing, and that's so, and you know, as an actor, to get an offer, it's like, no, we know you.
But it wouldn't have happened if I didn't do my work on the audition for Chicago PD.
No, I have the exact same kind of story for my character, because I had done a Law and Order Criminal Intent in like 2006 or 2005, years ago. And Warren Leight was the showrunner of that show. Warren Leight is our showrunner.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was 25 years old when I did that. And I just remember, like, took it very seriously. I showed up prepared.
Yeah.
I was never late. I never said I wouldn't do anything. Like, I was never arguing with the director. You know, you have to be like that. You have to be very easy.
Flexible.
You understand, you know, listen, you're a part of this. It's not about you. So I did that, and then, you know, I left it, and then I went on with my life. And then 10 years later, Warren Leight had been like, I like that actor. I'm going to write something for him at some point. And 10 years later, he writes this character, and I get a call out of nowhere that said, would you like to do 3 episodes, maybe more?
Wow.
It was this character, and
that's amazing.
Yeah. But I also knew, I was like, 3 episodes, maybe more. I was like, this could be something. So again,
those 3 episodes of your audition.
Yeah. It's like, you've got to, you know, when somebody opens a door for you, you have to walk through it.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? You have to, but it's also funny, like, you understand how high the stakes are, but you have to be kind of casual about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
inside, you know. Like, I had one big scene in my first episode, and I remember, like, being like, okay, like, if you blow this.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Totally. You cannot even think about what you're up against.
Yeah.
But that's, you know, I feel like being an actor has made me a better person, and vice versa. It's sort of this thing that goes back and forth, and all the epiphanies I've had as an actor have really been like parallel to me as a human being.
Yeah.
I've often found, like, if I want to change the way I act, I change the way I live.
Yeah.
And it is like you were saying earlier, some of the most personal work you can do.
Yeah. I think it's also, though, to be an actor, like, hopefully you really try to understand people in, I don't want to say the best light, but like if you're playing a bad guy and you're like, this guy's a bad guy, he's motivated by hatred. I mean, like, that's going to be boring. You have to find, like, why, like, everybody has reasons that make sense to them for the things that they do. And that kind of really, you can apply that to anything. So I feel like I'm, you know, it's, let me, like, put myself in your shoes. That's what acting is, right? You do
empathy.
You can extend that to real life, you know, to make it. I remember, you know, like, having road rage or whatever. I don't know for whatever reason, if somebody doesn't do something, and God, you know, you get so mad at them. And this has just happened the other day, and I was thinking about it. I was like, you know what? Like, that person maybe they're coming from the hospital, or maybe they have some really bad news, and they're thinking about that, and that's why they're not going through the green light. You know what I mean? Like, that's a better way to be.
Right. No, I think you're right that being an actor, sort of, there's an opportunity for you to just look at the bigger picture of everything, because you are part of a bigger puzzle. Yeah. And it's the abnormality of the career is that there's a lot of attention on you, so that it sort of gets skewed, and you feel like you're always sort of at a tug of war with that. I had a funny moment here in Chicago where I went out with a buddy that was in town, back where you can have people visit you. And you remember what that was like when you can have visitors?
Not really, it's a blur. It's a blur.
We went and got some pizza, and a woman recognized me there, and she said, "Oh my God, you're that guy from the show." And I go, "Yeah, hi, what's your name?" Blah, blah, yeah. And she goes, "Oh my God, you're my favorite. I idolize you." And my buddy goes, "Why would you do that? You don't even know him." And it's just like this guy from the small town where I grew up is like giving her real, like, what? Why? Yeah. You don't even know him. I know him. Believe me, you don't want to idolize it. It's just this funny moment of it was just like, so it's really good. I mean, never.
But it is so true. It's so funny. I remember I was on the subway once, and this guy like across from me kind of like, and I'm like, and then he's like very polite, very nice. He's like, "Would you mind if I took a photo with you?" I was like, "Absolutely, no problem." So we take the photo, and then this woman's sitting next to me, and she's like, "Can I get a photo with you?" And I'm like, sure, no problem. I'd be happy to." And she takes her camera and she's like, "I don't even know who you are. Who are you?" And now I'm in this weird position where I'm explaining who I am.
Yeah.
And I was like, "I'm on Law and Order SVU." And she's like, "Oh, I don't even like you." And then took the photo. I was like, this is so strange. I don't even like you.
It really is. And you know what? You just have to laugh at the end of the day. It's like you can't make it anything that it isn't. Hey, it was really a pleasure getting to know
you too, Nick. Really good talking to you, man. And good luck with everything. And stay negative, and by negative, positive is what we mean. Yes. And we'll talk again soon. This was fun.
Yeah. Thanks. Same to you, man.
I'll see you later. Bye-bye.